everybody. I wanted to give you a little bit of SuperJump's story, okay? The history of how SuperJump started, why I started, where it's coming from, because we're really big here in Italy, okay? So we're the #1 jumping school in Italy, and since 2010, we have set off a wildfire for jumping. So if you're very attentive and you study, the future of fitness or watch fitness trends, you'll notice that from 2010 to 2016, there's been a proliferation of jumping techniques. But SuperJump is the best because we really set it off. Because let me give you a little bit of history. So mini trampolines were invented in 1977, okay, by Al Carter, very smart guy. He was a trampoliner. He set off a wonderful trend, and then it kind of like fizzled out in the 80s. And so we've all seen mini tramps. We've seen them, we've seen rebounders or mini trampolines or bouncers. There's a lot of names for them. But what happened is it kind of just disappeared. There were other jumping classes or techniques, but the whole thing is they just jumped. They didn't do anything else. But before I get to that part, let me go back and say why I invented SuperJump. I invented SuperJump because in 2008, I was writing a book on cellulite, okay? The #1 enemy of women on the planet, and if I must say, also men on the planet, because when a woman's not happy with her legs, either it's her husband or her boyfriend, so like everyone's unhappy, and so like I always saying, for world peace, let's cure cellulite. So 2008, I started working on this protocol to heal or cure or better or just help cellulite. And so what was that? So what I did was I took a vibrating plate, I took an inversion table, actually I took Teeter's inversion table, the #1. I love Roger Teeter and I love his products, so I definitely recommend that. And I had a presso therapy, which is those legs with the air pressure therapy for lymph return, and I was missing something. Now, what was I missing? So where does cellulite form? And everyone's like always touching everyone's like, well, cellulite's here. Well, no, actually it's in subcutaneous fat. And so in that subcutaneous fat layer, I'm obviously gonna need something that's aerobic that was gonna help me burn fat on a certain point. And the other point was I have a plantar reflexes, which is right underneath the ball of my foot. And that's going to help my lymph vessels contract, and that's going to help the lymph return, and that's going to help drain the legs, which is going to help drain the subcutaneous fat of excess liquid, and that was going to help my cellulite. Okay, you guys following me on this one? So what happened was I started thinking, well, what do I need? Well, a bike's not going to do it because I can't pedal on my toes. And then I was going, well, maybe I could use a treadmill, but you can't walk on your toes either, on the balls of your feet on a treadmill. So I came to mind, I said, well, I'll have them jump rope. But if you're a trainer, or if you've ever tried to jump rope, you'll know that's going to be really tough on your ankles, on your knees. And it's really hard to have the coordination. So it's going to be hard to keep my client in an aerobic zone, okay, jumping rope, because not everybody really can, just pick up a rope and start jumping. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go buy a trampoline. So I went to a mega sports store, I bought this trampoline, and I had them jump on it. Now, it was really poor quality, but what I noticed was that my clients were really getting into it. I mean, they were having a lot of fun jumping. So I'm like, well, I like this idea, but it was really, really rigid. I mean, it didn't have the balance like this, that my trampoline that I'm jumping on right now. So what I said was, it was very small, and I was like going, well, what's going to make it bouncier? I'm just going to make it bigger, because if I make it bigger, because what is the bounciest part of a trampoline? It's the center, okay? So I'm like, well, I'll just make it bigger. So where I'm jumping right now, this was my very first modification of my trampoline, was making it bigger. And so what happened was I started looking around and trying to find in Italy a trampoline with my specifications, and I couldn't find it because they were all 40 inches, okay, or 99, 100 centimeters. And so I started to produce trampolines. That's why I started to produce trampolines. So in 2009, I produced my first trampoline. It was 111 centimeters or 44 inches. And when I went to produce it, I found out that you could change a lot of things on a trampoline to make it bouncier. So the quality of the mat and the springs, and there's a lot of stuff I learned on trampolines. So my very first trampoline was like the one I'm jumping on. And the interesting thing was most of the world was still jumping on 40-inch trampolines. They're very small, they're very rigid, and they're very restrictive. I mean, think of a really tall guy on a trampoline that's a lot smaller than this one. he just wouldn't have that much space to move. So there we go. So in 2009, I start to work with a trampoline. I made an infomercial. It's called the Aerobic Accelerator System, and off I went. So I sat at home for about 6 months and started digging and moving and inventing exercises. And I came up with 140 exercises, all of them with an acceleration force to them. Okay, so when I'm on a trampoline, and the difference about SuperJump in respect to other teams or squads or lessons or techniques is we don't just jump. Okay, a lot of people sit there and they jump and then they stop and they go down to do, like, let's say a lunge, and they're doing it with no acceleration. You know, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, I'm a purist when I work with new equipment, or when they call me like, Jill, can you make a formation course for my products? I'm like, sure. I look at what it does, I think about what it does, and I get into it. So a trampoline accelerates or it destabilizes because it is proprioceptive. So if I'm going to do a lunge, it's going to be, and then I'm going to push into it, and then I'm going to use the acceleration, or I'm going to use the elasticity underneath me. When I do abs, when I'm doing ab work. So when I do abdominals, if you go back and look at from 2010, because a lot of people are changing now because they're seeing what we're doing here with SuperJump, but a lot of people do abs like this. Now that doesn't make any sense because you're on a trampoline. Trampolines accelerate. So I jump on my abdominal. So that creates a lot of internal compression, a lot of deceleration is what we're interested in, triple force conditioning, and that's really going to kick up your metabolism. So SuperJump starts in 2008, writing a book on cellulite. I really liked the product. I saw that my clients were having fun on the product, and then we started from there, okay? And this is where it gets really interesting, because from 2008 to 2016, I have discovered so much about trampoline. It's pretty much been kind of like falling upon these realizations. We found out that it creates jumping, just jumping, creates endorphins. Why do children jump? Have you ever seen it? Children always jump. Because when the brain is flying, okay, or jumping or falling, what happens is your brain gets into this excited state saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to get hurt, is basically what it really thinks. So it gives an immediate flush of endorphins because it's thinking it's going to have a natural painkiller going on there. That doesn't happen, fortunately, on a trampoline. That doesn't happen when you're jumping down, when you're jumping into a pool, or when you're doing something controlled. Jumping is very safe, and that's why people like to jump, and that's why people like also to swing. Okay, because we have acceleration, deceleration, and our brain starts to believe that we're falling, but it's creating endorphins. So that's the first thing. The second thing that started happening is I took these 140 exercises and I made my formation course, and you're going to see it on my channel. So if you'd like to learn more about SuperJump, if you want to jump with me, I don't know where you are in the world, but I will give you the specifications of what type of trampoline that you should be using. Follow me here, use SuperJump, because it will change your life. It will change your legs, it will change your metabolism, it will help you lose tons and tons of weight, because that's what happened. So I have my trampoline, okay, and I have my method, and I take it out there, and we start teaching, and I was teaching teachers. And I went back after about 3 weeks, and I saw the teachers really, really changed. I mean, just totally changed. Like almost like someone put a straw into the mouth, and it just sucked out all the excess water and fat. And I'm like, wow, you look great. What are you doing? And they're like, you're trampoline. And I'm like, really? And I looked at another person, a teacher. Now I'll tell you why this is important. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, you're trampoline. I'm like, really? And what happened is, I mean, I've been working in fitness for almost 30 years, and more than that if you put into the time that I was also just, doing it myself as a fitness enthusiast. I've never seen something change bodies as fast as SuperJump, ever. I mean, never. And with such ease and such fun and such total, enthusiasm. Because the whole interesting part about this is a trainer is already highly, highly, highly conditioned. And for a trainer to have his body or her body change means something is really happening. Okay, something exciting is happening, something to their metabolism is happening. So I had 2 different scientific studies done, And what we found out was when we jump for the exact same comparative exercises, when we're jumping, we're stimulating up to 191% more muscle fibers. And that is why it gives such results. So you're going to start sweating more. You're going to see that your ankles and your knees get really, really stronger, even though that they're protected here, because we reduce impact force by 85% when we're jumping. And it increases your metabolism up to 14% more for the same exact movement that you can do on the ground. Now, calculate that in order to do that scientific study, we couldn't, there's a lot of movements on a trampoline that you can't do for 40 minutes. You couldn't do this movement for 40 minutes, but you can do it on a trampoline. For example, you wouldn't be able to do this for an hour because on the ground it'd just be too hard. It's be totally plyometric. But here you can do it on a trampoline. So I could go on and on and on because it's 8 years that I work with trampolines, and I love trampolines, and I hope that you follow me here for more SuperJump story. So the most interesting thing is a trampoline protects your joints. It reduces impact force by 85%. It kicks up your lymphatic system up to about 1,400%, so you're getting a complete lymph exchange or lymph cycle in only 10 minutes of jumping. Now, when we're sitting still, our lymph system is going, when I'm sitting like this, my lymph system is traveling about, a whole cycle will take about 36 hours. When I'm jumping, when I'm here, it only takes 10 minutes. So what's going to happen, you're going to start to jump, you're going to have to jump off and go to the bathroom. That's normal, okay? But that's your lymph system draining your legs, draining that liquid out, getting it going. The other thing is going to kick up your metabolism because you're training up to 191% more muscle fibers. That means thermogenesis. That means you're going to be training more muscle fibers. You're going to be burning more fat. You're going to be burning more. So you're going to kick up the number of calories that you're burning. And you're producing endorphins. So this is not going to feel like a workout. It's going to feel like you're having fun. And the neatest thing is when we watch it at a SuperJump class at the end, everyone's like smiling, and it's like, it's finished. And like, let's just keep going. And you're like, it's finished. And they're like, no, we want to keep going. So it's a really fun, enthusiastic way to work out. I'm going to be posting as much as possible here on my YouTube channel. And I want you to become a super jumper as well. So please click like, please subscribe to my channel, okay, and share, share it on your Facebook channel, share it on Twitter, wherever you want to share it. And stay tuned, because SuperJump, we don't just jump, and we don't just jump absolutely here on my channel. I'm Jill Cooper. I am the inventor of SuperJump, and I hope to see you again. Have a great day.